All right, let's talk about something that pretty much every founder knows in their bones. That feeling of just chaos. You know, the constant firefighting just to keep your business running. But what if you could actually trade all that chaos for a smooth, predictable system? Well, today we're going to explore exactly how to do that by learning from the hard-won lessons of one consultant who's seen it all.
So let's just get real for a second. Ask yourself this: is your business a well-oiled machine? Or does it feel like you're just running around putting out one fire after another? It's probably one of the biggest, most common headaches for any entrepreneur, and it's the core question we're going to dig into.
The person who's going to guide us through this is a business consultant named Kostiantyn Malchenko. And his core philosophy, well, it's simple, but it's really powerful. He says, business is self-realization. Now, just think about that for a moment. It totally reframes the whole thing. This isn't just a technical problem with spreadsheets and flowcharts. It's a personal journey. It's about your own growth.
So, how did Kostya get so wise about all this? Well, let's just say he earned it. Before he could ever hope to fix other people's businesses, he had to learn from the wreckage of his own. He has this great word for it, shishka. It's Ukrainian for all the bumps and bruises you collect from the School of Hard Knocks. And as it turns out, all those failures, they became his most valuable asset. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's a highlight reel of entrepreneurial pain, isn't it? A dance school goes under because there's no marketing. A concert agency completely falls apart because of partnership drama. He gets into the dried fruit business, only to have the market pull the rug out from under him. And then, believe it or not, another agency fails for the exact same reason as before: bad partnerships. Each one was a different, very painful lesson in what not to do.
So after a string of failures like that, you'd think most people would just throw in the towel. But for Kostya, this wasn't the end. It was actually a pivot. He had this massive realization that his real passion wasn't just starting businesses, it was digging in and fixing the very systemic problems that had torpedoed his own ventures.
And that path led him straight to consulting in 2012. He finally found his calling. He started going inside other people's companies, diving deep to untangle all their messes, fixing the weak spots in marketing, in team motivation, in their sales process. You know, all the exact things that he himself had stumbled on. He was basically using his own scars as a roadmap to help others.
Okay, so his own personal experience was the foundation, for sure. But what he did next is what gave him a perspective that very, very few people ever get. He went from analyzing his own handful of failures to dissecting the problems of over 1,000 other businesses from the inside.
Just let that number sink in for a second. Over 1,000 businesses. At one point, he was doing these intense 2-hour deep dives with more than 600 companies in a single year. That's just wild. When you see that many businesses up close, you stop seeing individual one-off problems. You start to see the universal patterns, the same mistakes again and again.
And here is one of the first, most crucial patterns he spotted. So many entrepreneurs confuse their theme with their niche. Let's use his old business as an example. The theme was dried fruits. Simple enough. But the niches within that theme were completely different worlds. You had retail, selling little bags to shoppers, you had wholesale, selling huge quantities, and you had online sales. He realized his biggest profits by far were in wholesale, but he was spending all his energy on the retail side. It makes you ask, doesn't it? Are you sure you're playing in the most profitable niche within your theme?
This brings us to probably the most critical and, yeah, often the most uncomfortable lesson from analyzing all those businesses. It turns out the single biggest thing holding a company back, it isn't the market, it's not the competition, it's not even the team. It's something much, much closer to home.
Let me ask you this. What do you think is the #1 reason that a consultant, no matter how good they are, can't actually help a business get better? Why does so much good advice just seem to fall flat, with nothing ever really changing?
And there it is. The answer is the owner. The single biggest roadblock is an owner who isn't willing to change themselves. They say they want the business to change, but they resist changing their own mindset, their own habits, or the broken system that they created in the first place. The takeaway here is kind of brutal, but it's simple. If the leader doesn't evolve, the business cannot, period.
Kostya has a, let's just call it a colorful way of explaining this. It's like that old joke. When business was bad at the brothel, they didn't rearrange the furniture, they changed the ladies. The point is, in business, leaders are constantly just shuffling the furniture, tweaking superficial little things when the real problem lies with the core strategy or the key people in charge.
Okay, so let's say the owner is ready to change. Great. What's the next step? It's about finding what Kostya calls speed bumps, a term he picked up from a client. These are those hidden, everyday obstacles that are secretly slowing your entire business down. And the crazy part is, they are almost always invisible from the director's chair.
And this right here highlights a massive disconnect. It's like the director and the team are living in two different realities. From the top, the view is often, our strategy is brilliant, the team just needs to execute better. But for the people on the front lines, the reality is, we're fighting with bad tools, nobody talks to each other, and the process is totally broken. There's this huge gap between the view from the top and the facts on the ground.
Check out this real-world example from a construction company. You can see the speed bumps at every single level. The workers on site are saying, "We have terrible tools." Their foremen look at them and think, "My crew is unmotivated." The project managers are tearing their hair out over constant delivery delays, and then you have accounting who can't even approve a small, urgent payment. Everyone sees their own little problem, but the result is that the entire system is in gridlock.
So how do you actually fix this mess? It's not a top-down solution. The fix has to be built from the bottom up. Step 1, you have to listen. Start with your frontline staff to figure out what the real problems are. Step 2, identify the true obstacles that are causing all the friction. Only then can you get to Step 3, which is to systematize solutions. Create clear, simple processes that get rid of those speed bumps. And the final goal, Step 4, is to align the whole company so that everyone, from top to bottom, is working on solving the same set of real problems.
So really, in the end, it all comes down to a choice for every entrepreneur out there. You can spend years and a whole lot of money collecting your own painful bumps and bruises, learning every single lesson the hard way. Or you can learn from the patterns of 1,000 businesses that have already paid that price for you. So the question is, which path are you going to choose?